Welcome to OzIndian, and I have got the CEO of Cricket Australia, Mr. James Sutherland. James, thanks for finding time.
Pleasure, Raj. Nice to see you.
What motivated you to put on this event?
Look, I think in the big picture, what we're all about is growing cricket as Australia's favourite sport, and we understand, I guess, that Australia's continually changing as a multicultural country and environment, and it's really important for those of different backgrounds to know and understand that we are open to understanding better ways in which people can access cricket. We believe cricket's a great sport, a fun sport, a safe environment for Australian kids, and I guess what we want to do is to make sure that we are communicating that as best as possible to all different multicultural communities around the country.
Mm-hmm. Well, the international sports are covered by commercial channels and ABC and SBS, whereas the grassroots level, like the club level and grade cricket and so on and so forth, do you think that you would be able to give incentive to ethnic media like ours to cover those grassroots level cricket?
Well, look, I think that's part of, I guess, the message is we want more coverage, we want more exposure for all of the different levels of the game, because the more, particularly for networks like yourself, which is communicating to an Indian community, we want everyone to understand more about the people of their community, that what they're achieving within cricket, and ways in which we can, I guess, broaden the understanding of cricket as a sport for all Australians.
Mm-hmm. Well, if I take my own example, when I came here 26 years back, I couldn't find my way to a club, and I couldn't put my children to various sports because the information was lacking. We are trying to bridge that gap in information and encourage the parents of both boys and girls to join the clubs and play more cricket. How can Cricket Australia facilitate that kind of an initiative?
Yeah, it's a great question, Raj, and I think that I'd like to think that we've come a long way. And there shouldn't really be any excuses in this day and age where we've got the internet, we've got different forms of media, access through smartphones to be able to download information about where kids can play cricket, what's involved, who to contact, all of those sorts of things. That information is all now readily available, and there shouldn't be any excuses. But to that end, that's one of the reasons why we have a gathering like we do today, to talk to people in the media like yourself about getting the information out, getting the word out that cricket is open for everyone, and we understand that there can be at times perceptions about cricket as perhaps a sport for only boys or men, or perhaps men from certain backgrounds. That's not true at all, and we want to break down any of those perceptions and make sure people understand where they need to go, what they need to do to be embraced by cricket and to have great fun playing the game like we all have.
Well, you also mentioned in your presentation when you spoke that Australian cricket has stayed predominantly white, and not too many ethnic communities are participating. Like if you take an example of English cricket, for example, or South African cricket, which is so multicultural. What initiative Cricket Australia, this is a perception in the community that they don't get the same opportunity to train and to come up in the ladder to play for Australia, play for New South Wales, play for the state. What can Cricket Australia do to encourage these communities who have got so much talent to come forward and participate? And what role can we play in the ethnic media?
Yeah, look, I think as a starting point, we're Australia in its multicultural growth as a nation is a little bit behind a country like England, and some of it's more inherent in South Africa as well. But what we're doing is in many ways we're taking affirmative action here to ensure the opportunities are there for people to come. I mean, we've got great role models like Usman Khawaja, who's here, and Lisa Stalaker. In some ways, they're an example to young kids of different backgrounds to say the opportunity is there. And it does take the courage and the conviction and the dedication to work a way through. My club my home club in Melbourne, for example, Melbourne University Cricket Club has embraced Fawad Ahmed into the team, and he's another great example, albeit a different background, but someone who has been embraced by the Australian cricket community, and again provides an example, hopefully, for people to understand that the opportunities are there. But we need to get better at that. We're not saying that we're good at that, and we want nothing more than for the Australian cricket team in the future to be representative of the representative face of the Australian multicultural community.
As you also mentioned, sports is something, especially high-profile sports like cricket, it can bring communities together by cutting across all the barriers, be it racial, be it ethnic, or colour, and so on and so forth. How can ethnic media play a part in bridging that gap and bringing those communities together, you think?
Well, I think in the first instance, I think it is about you communicate directly to your own sector of the multicultural community, and it's so on the first basis it's understanding the access of the game and the friendly and safe environment that cricket offers. But in a broader sense, it's also about celebrating cricket's diversity, celebrating cricket as something that is close to the heartbeat of this country, a genuinely national sport, a sport that dominates the summer landscape, and in many ways to be a part of the Australian community is to be a part of cricket as well. And I think that's a message that ideally down the track I would like your listeners or your viewers to really understand, and the same with others as we gather people from all different segments of the media community today.
Mm-hmm. Are we going to see more of this initiative in future? And if there is one final message for the ethnic media?
Yeah, look, absolutely. This is part of. I mean, we've appointed people specifically within Cricket Australia to take on responsibilities around community engagement. We have a broad strategy, but we have then specifically community engagement strategies for females, for Indigenous communities, for multicultural communities, for those who are perhaps somewhat disadvantaged by disability as well. Making sure that we're true to our word around cricket being a sport for all.
James, thanks very much for talking to us.